Well, hello, my beautiful people. It's so nice to see you out there in YouTube world. I don't know whether they're in Florida, but it's hot here in Pennsylvania. Oh my goodness, no, it's hot here. It's very, very, very difficult. Like heat-wise, everything. Yeah, it's hot here. We've got some heat. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. Bullhorn Betty, covering true crime. Going to be kind of giving some updates on the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case and what is potentially going on with that. There hasn't been a whole lot of new information other than the 5-speed or 5-shift vehicle. And that is bombshell information, and we found out, we're going to dive into a little more information about that and going over the timeline related to these children, shortly, because May 2nd it's been a pretty stinking long time. Yeah, we are now August 11th, over 100 days that these children have been missing. Law enforcement told us early on they believe these children are deceased. And we're just trying to make heads or tails as well as advocate for the children in finding out what is going to be happening. I'm going to try to set up timelines a little more detailed. This is kind of just a quick overlay of some of the things that have happened. So we have all of the people you see over on the, well, I guess over on this side. I'm still backwards. Okay, this side of the screen right over here. We've got the 2 children that are missing, which Lily is 6 years old when she disappeared. Jack was 4 years old. They disappeared from their home. I believe it's 1407 Gairloch Lane, or Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, Canada. The adults in the house, now I don't really have a photo. I think I do have a photo of the brother, but for all intents and purposes, the main players inside this house was Daniel Martell, Malehya Brooks-Murray, and Janie McKenzie. Janie McKenzie is Daniel Martell's mother. Obviously, Malehya Brooks-Murray is the girlfriend and the 2 children's mother. And nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows nothing. So it's been quite hard covering this case because it's just hard. We look at these beautiful kids' face. We know something terrible happened. We know that people are lying to us, and all we want to do is bring the children home so they can rest in peace. The parents are going to be in trouble whether it's now or later. They're only stopping the inevitable, right? The knock is coming. It's just a matter of when, in my opinion. There's not a whole lot. One thing that we know is that this place is in the middle of nowhere. Not a whole lot of traffic comes and goes. It's very destitute. It's very desolate. And so movement at night is very few and far between. We all had a gut feeling, at least I did, that these children disappeared before they were reported missing. And many of us heard that Malehya was up and was walking in the door at 6:15 or something like that to call the school. She's nowhere to be around to ask, but she's also from a much smarter family. It sounds like her family has a little, a little more common sense, like to shut up. I mean, in all fairness, she has a right to be silent, and she's being silent. Daniel Martell, not so much. And he was doing a lot of subtly, and I want to repeat that again, subtly, pointing the finger at her. I've expressed, at least, that I have had some real concerns with Daniel Martell. My biggest concern was he was checking all the boxes in the right spot, but just deep down in my gut, I felt like he was being manipulative. And I think I used that word multiple times. Now, we know on February 28th, the kids went to school. The kids went to school on Tuesday, and the school was closed on Wednesday. We are learning that Lily received a black eye that evening over at a friend's house. Apparently, they were washing some clothes, according to the grandmother, the step-grandmother, Daniel's mom, Janie. Nobody ever talked about this black eye. Now, we've also talked, and Janie has very much spoke about how thin her walls are, how she can hear everything outside, right? How that morning Lily and Jack were playing in the area right out in front of her door. She heard them. But somehow she didn't hear the vehicle roaring up and down the road from midnight to 5 or 6 a.m. She can hear a lot, but somehow she heard 2 children that were most likely missing, and she never talked about anything other than she paid way too much attention to the pool, to the aspect of the pool. So I wanted to read a few things that I have found, and this is all the stuff that I've been reading that actually makes sense when I'm reviewing. I've been finding on Facebook. This appears to be where people in Canada kind of drop stuff. I see a lot more engagement in this case than almost any other case I've ever seen. So before we get started, Melanie, it's nice to see you. Bullhorn Betty is present. No More Lies, it's nice to see you. Linda, good evening. Sabrina. Carol, it's nice to see you as well. Randa, good evening. Vaughn, I think I got that right. Vaughn and Elliot, it's nice to see you all from Australia. Well, it's nice to see you. Peggy, Christy, Show Poodles, Kiki, it's nice to see you. Linda from Newfoundland, it's nice to have you. Betty fan. You know, for the Canadian people, for the Canadian family that's in here, I mean, what are you guys hearing out there, you know, in your area? I'm from Florida, so I'm like I'm like literally the furthest point away from Canada I think you could possibly be, you know? So outside of Texas, like the peninsula of Texas. So I don't know, you know, what you guys are hearing, or even your laws. At what point, because I feel like the Royal Canadian Police and your law is a lot more strict than the United States law. So I guess what I'm trying to ask in a nutshell is, at what point do they start arresting people? I mean, there was nobody else out there. Like, who could have done this? The children are gone. And there's only, like, a way in from one side and a way in from the other side, and that's it. And they're out there in a big plot of land in the middle of the Atlantic somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to remember the map. Don't mind me, and please don't laugh at me. I'm from Florida, okay? I'm not from Canada. You can laugh at me. It's okay. It's okay. But that's really what I want to know. Lorraine, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Karen, hey. It's nice to see you. Oh, Pebbles is up in here. Linda. How's the sound and everything coming in? Everything coming in pretty good? I'm hoping everything's coming in pretty good. Okay. So, this is the, one of the comments, statements from one of the people in the Find Lilly and Jack Sullivan discussion group, and they're appealing to the family for photographs of Lily and Jack at 6 and 4 years. And it says, it is something that is a priority. No, of course not. However, we are searching for 2 children who have now been missing for 101 days. I feel a variety of recent photographs being shared may actually be fairly important and beneficial, showing the children from different angles. Different facial expressions and different style clothing may help if someone sees them. If there was someone else, the public knowing more about them may help. And I really couldn't agree more. I think people need to be making sure that they have their information up, you know. Let me get back to where I was. Sorry, guys. There we go. And then we have some more. A lady dropped a whopping 73 images of different articles, and she has this very, very, very lengthy post. And it's this right, I guess I don't have my box over far enough. Let me see if I can fix that. Just a little bit. We'll get it right there. There we go. Now I can move my hand and you guys can see it. So she posted like these 73 photos right here. And we're going to go through those and go through her article because I think it's very beneficial. For those that are unfamiliar with this case, let me remove this just a little bit so we can talk about this case. On May 2nd, there was a 911 call that came into the RCMP. This is the first foreign case I've covered. It's a Canadian case. I've never dealt with a case in Canada. I don't know how to properly research in Canada. So we were already at the deficit going into this case and trying to understand what had happened. And so on May 2nd, I guess there were some stuff going around. I don't think I got involved in this case until like May 4th. But May 3rd was really when this case just blew up. I don't know what happened, but it was just, boom. And we had this huge case blowing up in Nova Scotia, Canada. So we all start jumping in. One of the first videos I personally watched was Malehya. And the one takeaway I got from that was she said the word sorrow. Her body language was all off. She was too calm for the situation. She was talking about them possibly being abducted, and that still being a possibility, which means that she also didn't even believe that they were abducted, in my opinion. And that was the first time I looked into this case. And then I'm saying, oh, who's this Daniel Martell, her partner? So I start looking for interviews with him, and we noticed that he started taking the reins, and I just, something about him just wasn't sitting right with me. I don't know what to say other than it just wasn't sitting right with me. He wasn't giving me the right time, even though he was doing the right type of things, he wasn't giving me the right type of vibes. And so that was critical in this case. But still, nothing happened, and we knew that they most likely didn't disappear. We were all already having funny feelings. Malehya just took off the evening. We're finding this out by the 4th or 5th of May that she took off and has not been back. We're all screaming red flags. Daniel Martell, he's basically suggesting that something's going on, like with his words, like, I'm the only one here fighting, for these kids, just using that, making sure people knew. He was exploiting the fact that Malehya wasn't there. And in all fairness, Malehya should have been there and wasn't. And I don't think we've ever, in the history of doing this over the last 5 years, ever seen a mother literally leave the scene of the investigation and the press conference and never return again. I don't think any of us have we ever experienced that before? Can anybody name a case? Hey Cynthia, it's nice to see you. SRK, it's nice to see you. Can somebody name me a case where we've ever had those factors as a part of that case? Because I'm not feeling like that was part of it. And another detail that many people, if you guys are engaged in this case, then you're going to understand this. But Daniel was moving about a lot. The morning of, apparently, from his own admission, he had already been up and down trails. I find that ironic since this person was talking about the ATV trails between 12 and 5. He talked about being waist deep in water, and these things that we personally saw as being problematic. You know what I'm saying? These were problematic statements coming from his yes, in the water. And then somebody else told us that he was like a tournament fisher. So he's very accustomed to water. That is a place of comfort for him. And so that scared me a little bit, because now I'm thinking the kids could be potentially sunk in water. But then we started hearing about these boot prints, and we're like, boot prints? One boot print? It wasn't until Janie really showed the area where the boot print was. And it's like, how did they hear or find this one lone boot print? If you go back and listen to her interview, folks, there was a lot of activity that happened right in that spot with that boot print. So how in the world could they have a boot print where it appears Malehya, Janie, and Daniel all stepped prior to calling law enforcement? If they stepped in it, wouldn't it cover up the boot print? Because exactly the place that Malehya allegedly was standing, according to what Janie showed us, is the same place they found a singular boot mark from a kid. Is that not odd? I think that's pretty stinking odd. And then we find out after the interview that Lilly got a black eye. Why Daniel would say anything about the black eye? It's leakage. I think the man's still utilizing substances. Funny, not funny. But I really don't think the man has learned a lesson yet. I think he's still utilizing substances and abusing them. But Lilly gets a black eye on the day that they are out of school, when they've been around the family the entire day. And then we couldn't figure out, we thought, you know what, it was a poor excuse. Why was Lilly called out of school? For a cough. That's what they said, a cough. I don't know of any parent that keeps their kid home for a cough. A cough could be many things, including but not limited to allergies. And they keep the children home. You know why they kept the children home? Is because Lilly's got a black eye. Again. There's abuse on these children. And by Thursday afternoon, they're seen in town, so we have a proof of life. But they're never seen again. And we have some type of vehicle, 5-cylinder or, manual transmission type of vehicle rolling up and down the ATV trails. Does anybody know if any of the vehicles at the Martell property were a standard shift vehicle? How do we know that he didn't intentionally do something to his vehicle right before law enforcement got there so he could say it was disabled? Is his a 5-cylinder or a manual shift, 5-cylinder, a manual shift 5-speed? Because I'm just trying to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense. But let's get back to this. This is where it kind of the rubber meets the road. Do I have it up on here yet? Let me put it back up. Okay. So this is from, I don't know who this is, Kimber Lappy. Okay, it says the Globe and Mail article. I don't know if I can make this bigger. There we go. Let me see how this looks on the screen. Do you guys need it bigger? Can you guys read all that? My head's out of the way too. I like the way it is. Okay. It says the Globe and Mail article published today covering the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, who reported missing from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia on May 2nd, 2025. Here is the text from the article if you prefer to read it that way. Deep in the middle of Nova Scotia, far from its quaint coastal towns, sits Lansdowne, a hamlet of around 100 people. Guys, you guys understand that? A hamlet of around 100 people. 100 people. 100 people. That's it. So there is, out of all the cases we have ever covered, that is your worst possibility of suspects. That's a small pool of suspects, and that's the entire hamlet. They can knock that out fairly quickly, no? That's a small area. Not a lot of people. It's surrounded by endless spruce forest, bushes like razor wire, bogs that breed swarms of black flies. Like many faded settlements across the Maritimes, Lansdowne reached its peak more than a century ago. About 150 kilometers northwest of Halifax, it was once a busy railway stop bustling with Scottish immigrants who dug iron and copper mines deep into the hillsides. So there's not a whole lot of work left there. It was a mining village, if I'm understanding this correct. Today, those mine shafts are abandoned. One lone train a day cuts through the community with melancholic blare. Most of the people here live quiet rural existence in secluded homes scattered along backcountry roads that only the locals know, where chickens and large dogs roam free and rusted skeletons of old vehicles sit marooned in the dirt. Much like American Appalachia, this once prosperous corner of Pictou County is now economically stagnant. 1 in 5 children live in poverty, higher than most other counties in the province. It's here where the lives of Lilly and Jack Sullivan were implanted 2 years ago to a rundown trailer set back from Highway 289 with their pregnant mother and stepfather. They needed a place to live, and their step-grandmother, who owned the home, welcomed them to live with her. Open this photo gallery. Okay, so then they have a photo gallery. It says Lilly and Jack lived in this house in Lansdowne Station, so we already know that. The life for Lilly and Jack inside a cluttered trailer in Lansdowne Station was chaotic. There were holes in the floors of the front stoop, tarps to protect the underside of the trailer from elements, and so much racket from the lively children that their step-grandmother soon retreated to a camper in the driveway. Their stepfather, Daniel Martell, 34, with pale eyes and ropey arms, worked at the local hardware mill. Their mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, 27, a member of, I can never say the Sepikni Nakaknik, I can't never say it, so don't, I'm sorry for butchering it. I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just not my language. First Nation, with chin-length hair, dark hair, stayed home with their baby Meadow. Inside the mobile home, a large wood stove filled up most of the living room. The kids' artwork was pasted on the kitchen wall next to the sliding patio door that led to the yard where they spent hours playing next to the chicken coop. That's kind of disgusting when it's said like that. Lilly chattered away to her dolls and stuffed animals. Jack turned over rocks and pieces of wood to search for bugs and worms. Outside the fenced backyard and up and over the steep embankment, the children sometimes played in a small fort nestled beneath the burrows of spruce. It was like their own little dream world. Inside the trailer, okay, that's more of the photos that were attached. Most day, Jack and Lilly hopped on the bus, attended for Salt Springs Elementary, a rural school about 20-minute ride from their home. Jack, smaller than his peers, was strapped at the front of the bus next to his sister. The morning the children were reported missing, the big yellow bus rolled past the mobile home without stopping for a second day in a row. Jack and Lilly were usually standing by the side of the road waiting to be picked up, but earlier that morning of May 12th or May 2nd, their mother had marked them absent from school about 6:15 in the morning. Both parents have said it's because Lilly had a cough. We now know she also had a black eye. They say they heard the children playing in the next room while they dozed in the bedroom with the dozed in the bedroom with the toddler. Daniel has said he saw Lily pop in and out a few times. About 9:48 a.m., the couple says they awoke and realized the kids were gone. They were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we know, it was quiet, she told The Atlantic. We got up. I tell my partner, Daniel, do you hear the kids? Now, again, this right here, who asked who about the kids? Daniel in his story says it was him. Malehya in her story says it was her. This is a problem for me. An inconsistent statement about a very specific detail is a problem for me. So we got up. I tell my partner, do you hear the kids? He said, no. We instantly look outside. We're going everywhere, yelling for them. Jack and Lily mysteriously disappeared, has baffled the country. More than 3 months after they were reported missing, after one of the largest searches in Nova Scotia history and an intense police investigation, police still haven't confirmed the circumstances of how the young siblings went missing. It's possible that there were clues, even potential warning signs in their home life. A closer look into the lives of Jack and Lily showed that all was not as well in that trailer in Lansdowne Station. Belinda Gray, at her kitchen table in Middle, I can't pronounce that name, has spent long hours in the woods looking for clues to Lily and Jack's whereabouts. I think a clue is, and the reason why I asked where the pink blanket is because I wanted to know. And now that we have this situation where we have a vehicle moving about, and we have a vehicle moving about in a very specific location. This is huge information because I truly believe they need to be looking in the waterways. They need to be looking in the waterways. That's a comfort zone for him, and if he got rid of those kids, he has two options. There's two options. There's three, but one's pretty freaking noticeable and really nasty, and that's burning. So he really only has two options: drop him in water or bury him. If that's the theory, drop him in the water or bury him. The problem is that the lungs in water will make them float to the top. So they have to do a little bit more to keep the body down. And he would know that, being a fisherman. He would know that. So, again, we've got some problems here. Very, very serious problems. But wherever that sound was, in my opinion, that they need to be out there looking. Law enforcement told us these kids are gone. And I know a lot of people are hopeful I'm not into wishful thinking. We have to listen to what the law enforcement says. If we're going to try to find these children, spending time on them being in somebody else's care when law enforcement has clearly told us multiple times that for whatever reason, that's their assessment. They may have a lot more information than we have. They may have something that proves that those children are no longer alive. I don't know what it is, but they have on multiple occasions provided us the grim news that those children are most likely and they will not be coming home. At this point, they believe that they are deceased. There's a reason why the RCMP believes that they are deceased. And now we have a vehicle running up and down 5 or 6. That is highly suspicious activity. That is no different than 2 flashlights coming out from the side of Sebastian's home. It is highly. Aw, thank you, Pam. Pam gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty memberships, don't forget to tell Pam thank you. And I'm working on a way to get our stuff up here, so you guys will be able to see the chat. You guys will be able to see these little things, the memberships, the gifts, and all that. I'm going to try to get all that set up for you guys so you guys can see it. So thank you so much, Pammy. I appreciate that. And we know Belinda Gray's situation. So Belinda Gray is the paternal grandmother to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Her story's really sad because her son and Malehya broke up. And when her son and Malehya broke up, her son didn't want anything to do with the kids. He kind of threw his hands up for whatever reason. He wasn't a part of the children's life. Wherever our emotional being is on this situation about the father not being in their life, it is what it is. He wasn't in their life. He wasn't trying to kidnap them. At the end of the day, you know, I'm not going to get into personal decisions. It's not my life. These are not my children. Do I frown upon that? I certainly do. But at the end of the day, we're looking for children, and we're looking for somebody that disappeared children. If he's not it, I'm moving past him, and I'm moving past him very quickly. At the end of the day, Cody had nothing to do with this, and Belinda was shortchanged. She tried to maintain a relationship with her grandchildren. These were her grandchildren. She took that seriously, and she wanted those grandchildren in her life. But when Malehya got with Daniel Martell, little by slow, she just closed herself off. And that's a good telltale sign of abusive relationships. You know, whenever you are an outgoing person or you have family and friends and stuff like that, and you literally go from being it's abusive. It's abusive. It shows that there's potential for control. Now, there are some people that just slow down in life, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. But this was a cause and effect type of thing. You know, she meets Daniel, and then all of a sudden she starts shutting off, communication with Belinda and her grandchildren, and Belinda just stops, didn't have an opportunity. Malehya just stopped bringing the kids around, and it stopped answering her calls and stopped, coming around. As sad as it is, that's what happened. And Belinda has always wanted to be in her grandchildren's lives, and she just thought that this was just a situation where the kids must have gotten out. She had no idea that anything was going on with these children, much like Seth. He had no clue. Even though Seth should have been informed, he wasn't. Belinda didn't really have any rights to be informed. So we have to put that out there too. So she didn't have a right to know. But she still should have known the benefit and the well-being of these children, because she wanted to be in their life. And I can't imagine anybody wanting to take somebody out of a child's life that's not a bad influence, and that is family. But for whatever the reason is, she didn't have a whole lot to say to Belinda until after the fact, okay? Now she's giving, we've got to see some of the text messages between Belinda and Malehya before she took off from the scene. And they were highly manipulative, in my opinion. Highly manipulative. Hey, Nick. I hope you're doing well. I see Pussy Willow Pendercat, I think is Pender, whatever it is. I saw you. Good evening. I hope everybody is doing well. So I'm just trying to talk about this. I'm sorry, I'm pretty exhausted, and I dropped something on my toe, so my toe is kind of hurting. I've been an injured woman this last week. It sucks. It just sucks. So I'll be hobbling around here probably for the next couple days, but that's okay. All right, let's get back to this so we can get this is pretty good. And again, this is from the Globe and Mail. I know a lot of people are talking about this. They put it behind a paywall, which you can't blame. It was great work. But anyways, it says Melinda is, part of that First Nation where her father, Henry Brooks, is among many waiting for news. He remembers the last time he spoke with the children, Jack, he said, loved him. Daniel is also on stress leave from his job at the hardwood mill. He says people in the community sometimes give him dirty looks, suspecting him of having something to do with the disappearance. Of course. That morning, because, again, only 100 people live out there. And it sounds like they've cleared 98 people. Or 97 people. I'm just saying. 97 people are not hard to clear. If all the people that were out there is 100, that's 100 interviews. They would have had that done. They could have done 3 interviews a day. They could have had everybody in the whole area interviewed in less than 30 days. I mean, come on. Malehya called 911 about 10 a.m. Daniel said he jumped in her white SUV and left a check nearby dirt roads, culverts, and streams. And I don't believe he did it that morning. I think he did it the night before, because again, we heard things moving around that night, and there should have been nobody moving around. Soon, an army of search and rescue volunteers arrived wearing orange hunting vests. They fanned out, conducting grid search in the swamp and thick woods around the home. Drones and helicopters scoured overhead. A police dog on a leash with a handler set about the yard. Police combed every inch of the property and rummaged through the mobile home. Reached inside a hamster cage. That's just a weird statement. Tore apart a brush pile, unzipped a suitcase lying in the middle of the yard. They opened the top of the dryer. Who would have a child, in their yard in a suitcase? I know they have to check everything, but I don't know. And why did it take it so long? I'm going to end it right there for the time being. Let me get back over to the screen. Why in the world would they... I know they have to search everything, but it just seems like there should be some people being really questioned, and I just don't know. And I asked people here, and I missed the reading of the comments of whether or not, at what point does Canadian police start arresting people? I mean, it seems like they're pretty quick to find people for walking, in the forest. I'm being kind of rude and disrespectful because it seems pretty ridiculous. Kristen, it's a circus. I don't know. I just think they're out there. But now that they've left, Daniel, because I believe it was Daniel that planted the boot. I believe it was Daniel that planted the pink blanket. I believe it was Daniel that was ripping, roaring up these roads in the middle of the night. I believe it was him. And I believe he was the one passing around the rumor that Malehya was coming into the house after, and he was the one sleeping. I think this whole time he might have been the one that lost his cool and is trying to blame Malehya, and probably Malehya knows she's up S Creek without a paddle and didn't know what to do and took off. I mean, I don't know. Either way, the mom she took off. I can't express that. And it sounds like she's been pretty deceptive to law enforcement. So, she had every opportunity to save those kids. And even after, if it was Daniel Martell and she still hasn't opened her voice or opened her mouth, then then there should be no help for her later down the road either, because she's away from him now. She has an opportunity to tell law enforcement what truly happened, and she's still remaining silent and not fighting for her children, and that deserves jail when push comes to shove. And no, I do not think she gets to live her life. No, I do not think she gets to go out to the beach. No, yes, I do believe she should be sitting in her house with a face full of tears. She's ultimately responsible for her children, and she failed both of her kids. She will have time to get over it. But now, I'm a time and place type of chick. And you're not going to disrespect those beautiful babies by going to a freaking beach but not go out and search for them. You can kiss... You know where that's going to go. You know where that's going to go. I feel bad for Belinda. Because out of all the people I've seen, it seems Belinda is the only one willing to fight for these kids. Daniel's cousin Logan, she seems pretty bright. She ain't fighting for him. Haley, I have my mixed opinions about Haley, but for the most part, she's, I don't know her. She's a nice woman. She's got a kid of her own. I don't see her out here fighting for them. I damn sure don't see the mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, out here fighting for them. Never saw her mother or her father or anybody from her family. Just Belinda. That tells me a lot. I want you guys to think about that. What does that tell you? Malehya's mother, Malehya's father, Malehya's siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents. None of them are out here. It's just Daniel running his mouth and his mother. That's it. And I think the reason why they're doing what they're doing is because I don't think anybody's going to believe them because of how they live their life. I'm having a hard time. I've been struggling believing Daniel from out the gate because I heard he was on substances, and I know how manipulative people are when they're utilizing substances. I don't believe crap that comes out of their mouth. They're swindlers, they're con men, they're everything. They're everything you need them to be, except real. But it's definitely a lot to ponder. It's definitely a lot to ponder. But guys, 100 people. That's who lives in the area. Most of us have thousands of people that live in our area. They have 100. Caracre, wow. People aren't the type to make public statements or fight RCMP. The people from that area are backwoods types. Used to live there. Wow. Yeah, but still, these are children. These are children. And no matter how you look at it, the parents acknowledge that the children were under their care and they weren't watching the children. Why aren't they in jail for that? That's negligent. And law enforcement has already said that the children are deceased. So that shouldn't that be negligent homicide or manslaughter? I know they still need to prove it, but at the very minimum, they can definitely charge both of them with negligence. And they haven't. They could literally apply a frickin' knot to the balls of both of these people and drag their asses in and charge them with negligence. 2 counts of negligence. And squeeze them. And see who pops first. You know? And if there are any other violations, I mean, start hitting them with, like, I don't play when it comes to this stuff. Start hitting them with failing to take care of their yard. If there's any ordinances that they're in violation of, you start hitting them with that. You start being the frickin' boil on the butt of a suspect. And right now, I'm just, you want to work with them, but to what extent? We have 2 children that are still out there in the woods. I don't trust Daniel. They left him alone. And if we had to, use past history of other people that have done this, like, who would it be? Adam Montgomery? Who are other ones? They kept moving their children. They didn't just dump the children and walk away. They kept them with them until they could literally get rid of them. And Daniel Martell's out there planting evidence, putting boot prints out by the pipeline, in my opinion, staging the pink blanket in the tree, in my opinion, and the RCMP has left him out there where most likely the children are, and I guarantee at some point he, if not, has not already, went out there and moved them. Much like trying to pool, as you guys heard him. He was all over while they were doing their searches. I guarantee he was watching what they were doing. And maybe when they were getting close, he decides to go plant the blanket, get their attention to the other side, so he can go move something else. Or maybe place a boot print by the frickin' pipeline when nobody's looking. Something ain't right. Mima says, RCMP said they're done. They're done with, oh no, they're still working on it. Actually, as a matter of fact, they released some information to the public. We're just now learning that there was a car speeding off behind the woods between midnight and 5 or 6 a.m. Maybe it was 5 a.m. 6 different times, back and forth. So 6 different times, in my opinion, is 3 trips. 3 round trips, right? There and back, there and back, there and back. Wouldn't that be 3 trips if the person passed by a house 6 times? Get them to the uncle, to the ferry. I don't know. To the island? I don't know what's out there. I thought never entered my mind. Yeah, drugs done. What did you say, Sasha? Hold on. Hey, Shield. What gets me about the RCMP is if they think that Jack and Lily are no longer alive, why have they kept this case as a missing person and not a search and recovery? Good question, but I have literally no clue what the RCMP does. I can't get a pulse on it. I don't know anything about Canadian law. I don't know anything about their playbook. You know, I've been watching law enforcement around the United States since I was a kid. I've been heavily involved in politics well over a decade and know a lot of, you know, sheriffs and deputies and police officers and a whole bunch of people. So CIA, I know retired CIA, FBI agents, the whole gamut. And so I've picked their brains over the years, you know. But I know nothing. I mean, I'm logical, so I know that, you know, solving a case, the techniques needed to solve the case, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Solving cases is doing investigative work, and there's certain different ways to do investigative work, and that's about it. So I'd have to, you know, the investigative side of things, what they would do, forensics and how they would do it, that seems pretty understandable. But the laws and how they would, you know, go after a parent or somebody like this, I haven't studied a case. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what we need to do, guys. I never thought about that. Maybe studying a case. I don't know. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to study more cases in Canada to get an understanding of their criminal process, because that's what it is for us, you know, being out there doing these cases and then watching the trial and learning things. That's how we really do hone in on, I know it's boring and people don't really care for, you know, trials. It's a lot of boring stuff. I mean, I get that, but do you know that is the best place, because law enforcement has to get up on the stand and testify exactly what to do. Fed up with humanity. Well, happy birthday. We'll have to sing you happy birthday. Fed up with humanity. I'm going to have to shorten your name. Let me figure out how I'm going to do it, because it's quite the name. I don't want to call you Fed Up. I don't want to call you Humanity either. So we'll just have to do... I have to do Fed Up. Alright, Fed Up. Fed Up it is. Oh, it's Alicia. Are you saying you're Alicia, or is Alicia writing? I can't tell. Sometimes this thing doesn't make sense. In Canada, people can be charged with unaliving without a body or proof of... Oh, good. Oh, it's Alicia. Okay, so we'll say Alicia. Okay. Well, we got a BHB birthday. We got a Bullhorn Betty birthday up in the chat, and many of you guys knew I do a bellowing. I bellow my happy birthdays. So we're going to bellow together, and we're going to sing Alicia happy birthday, because she has been part of the clan for quite a long time. So, you guys know I'm not prepared for this at 9 o'clock at night. I just want to tell you, better early in the morning than late at night. But we love Alicia. We love Alicia. Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Alicia. Happy birthday to you. I don't have a clappy button, so clappy, 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 clappy. I feel like that. I feel like that little monkey that goes Yay, Alicia. Yay. Drippy Thougtsicle says, now that was heartfelt. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we bellow. And there's the bellow. The bellow cello. The bellow Betty. Betty Bellow. Oh, Carol, it's nice to see you. Is it true that they had Daniel's uncle that made a lot of lies was called back for some reason in question? His vehicle was parked down the road at the time in question? Ooh. I didn't know that. But you know what? It's a shaming crime. She has kind of a direct tap to Belinda, and I haven't had an opportunity to go over there and check her stuff out over the last few days. But I know she's been talking about it, and I really like going over there because I like knowing somebody has, a direct connect to somebody in the family. It's super important, not just for the intel, okay, but for the history. It's just background history. It is one-sided, right? Especially if there's like hurt feelings and stuff like that. But I'd rather have even one-sided information than no information at all. My name got changed. Galactic Mom First. It's always nice to see you. That channel is interesting. It is. I got a little hot under the collar with it when they let Darren on, okay? I didn't like the guy. I could tell he was full of crap. Just by the way he was talking. I could tell he was full of crap. And I like the channel now, but this was kind of my first introduction to the channel. And I'm very opinionated and I'm very mouthy. And so I was like, I can't believe this person gave him a platform without pushing back. You don't have to be disrespectful to push back, but you can push back in a very respectable manner. And I just didn't see it. I just saw everybody just going along with it. But I have since watched her stuff. And obviously my first opinion of the situation was not saturated in reality. I'm glad I went back several different times. I'm glad I got to see the demeanor of Sunny and who she is and, all that other stuff. And I like the content. Even when Haley and Logan were on, that could have been a cat fight, y'all. And they were being very respectful. And I like that. People don't have to agree. They don't even have to like each other. But, going up on panel and having a very difficult conversation and still remaining respectful to one another, kudos to all of them. Kudos to all of them in that respect. So, I'm not thinking we're dealing with a whole bunch of sleazeballs here by any stretch of the imagination. But Daniel Martell is sick, and I truly believe Malehya Brooks-Murray is sick as well. I'm praying that she's getting the help she needs. Is there violence? Is there domestic violence? Was there controlling behavior? Only her and Daniel really truly know the true facts of what was going on behind those doors. But nobody is believing that they don't have any clue what happened to the children, especially in light of Malehya getting out of Dodge. Because no mother does that. No mother does that. No mother does that. Even Katie Proudfoot stayed at her house for a week or two before she took a hiatus. This lady took off the next day. If that is not screaming red flag, I don't know what is. I truly, truly, truly don't know what is. But either way, I think those kids are a lot closer. I don't know why they've stopped their search or why they stopped the ground search. especially in light of that 5-gear whatever 3 times. You know, if they could have interviewed that person a little deeper, you know, had them go back into the recollection, see if they could tell them how long did they hear him down the road. You know, did they ever hear him stop? Did they ever hear car doors open? You know, like really getting into that person, having that person coming in and just really analyzing them and their statements. And then also, did that person have any connection with Daniel Martell or his dad? We hear that the road is near his father's house. These are people that lived in that area their entire life. Is somebody lying about somebody? Because Daniel has a lot of people willing to go up to bat for him. We've already heard some of them. Even his cousin Logan, he has kind of, you know, duped in some respects. And they all know that he's on, you know, substances. No track. This tip is suspect. It is. Yeah. It's just hard to believe people from Maritime would hide the accidental or not killing of their kids. Seems strange to me if drugs are involved, I guess. Well, I don't think the problem is that it's the physical abuse, and it's not like I think that it was intentional by any way. I just think because of the substances, it does make people more volatile. They can't handle screaming kids. They can't handle if they're needing a fix and they don't have one. They're very irritable. And those kids are tiny. And it only takes one good hit and they're gone. Just like that. And they know they can't call it in because it'll be obvious of what happened to them. I think either Daniel or Malehya, one of them was beating the crap out of those children. Like beating them. They had free, from all I can count right now, with Lily's black eye, I think I've already heard about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 black eyes between the 2 of the kids. They're 4 and 6 years old. I have been around some stinking rambunctious kids, including my grandchildren, which I've told you guys stories about Kaylee and Holly getting in a fight when I laid them down for a nap, and I hear just blood-curdling screams. I run in there, and Kaylee bit Holly so hard that it looked like she was about to start bleeding. And Holly took the frickin', or it was just the opposite. I think Holly bit her. One of them took the phone and smacked it upside the head. And this girl had a goose egg sitting out off of her head. And I was furious. None of those grandkids had black eyes. They had goose eggs. They've had bruises. But I can't recall one time with all the roughhousing my granddaughters did, and they were, you know, country little girls. Okay? They were pretty tough. They played rough. I don't recall any of my grandkids ever having a black eye. I'm sorry. We can't go in the woods right now in Nova Scotia. I know, I made a comment about that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just that I just find it comical. I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm so sorry. It's just hilarious to me. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I would not, I heard somebody did it just to get the ticket and had a $28,000 ticket. I about fell over for walking in the woods. I'm so glad I am an American citizen. You guys whoever is sick of dealing with that, come on over. We're friendly people. If you got it, come on over. I got several friends that a move from Canada to the States. One that doesn't live too far from me, as a matter of fact. Stephanie, it's nice to see you. Hey, 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 hey. I just saw, can you shout out my mom? Yes, I'm happy to. Jana Scott, it's nice to see you. Big hug and some love being thrown from your daughter, asking me to say, hey, 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 Ma Jana. Pebbles is on it too. Hey, Jana. Hopefully I said her name right. It looks like it's Jana. I think both involved, because if not, the mom would have came forward. Are you kidding me? If the mom wasn't involved, the mom would have beat the crap out of Daniel Martell right there in front of the freaking cops. Because I know if anybody touched my stepdaughter's kids, she'd probably get in the car and run him over. I'm sorry. I mean, it is satire in part, but not. Like, I really believe that if somebody did something to my stepdaughter's kids, I do believe she is capable of hurting them very, very, very badly. And I believe just about every single mother in my chat room is capable of the same thing. And we've got a mom that's running away from her kids. It just defies our moral compass on the subject matter. That's the problem. It defies our moral compass. We feel it's immoral for a mother to take off on her children when they're missing and never return back. Whether she's involved or not, anybody that does that is trash to me. Pure trash. So if you have a missing child, you stay there and you search if you don't want to be considered trash. Because that's how the rest of the world is looking at Malehya Brooks-Murray, who has a high opinion of Miss Murray. If you have high regards for her, please, by all means, raise your hand. I mean, I'm curious. I want people to be honest on this show. Because I don't have a high regard for her. I have no high regard for Katie Proudfoot, because Katie Proudfoot did similar things. I find it hard to believe M was in bed from 9 to 9. Yeah. With a baby? There ain't no way. That's a lie right on its face. Think about it. A mom of a 16-month-old getting actually almost 13 hours of bedtime. There's no way. There is no possibility of that being truthful. A mother of a 16-year-old baby. I mean, let's not even talk about 3 children. She has a baby. And she went to bed at 9 p.m. and doesn't get up until 9:40 a.m. What mother with 3 children ever get a day like that? Somebody tell me. I've got a puppy. I don't even get a day like that. If I'm in my bed past 7:30, which is very few and far between, by the way. It happens every now and then. If I wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep, bet your bottom dollar I'm probably sleeping until 7:30. But after that, the dog's got licking my face. You know, I gotta imagine after that, children are bouncing around the house, banging crap. Tang, 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 tang. Janie moved out of the trailer and into the camper because of how loud it is in the home. Think about that. But nobody heard nothing. Nobody heard nothing. I hear that from criminals all the time. I didn't do it. I didn't see it. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Okay. If I slept past 5 a.m., that's a treat. I know. Oh, good gracious. I don't even know what time I got up this morning. I really don't. But my grandson gets up at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. I think last Saturday I was up at 5. But I have a lot more body aches. I can only sleep for. I've got a horrible back. My back's as crooked as the politicians. Run, Forrest, run! All right, I'm now starting to move over from funny to delusional. I love you guys. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. I hope you guys got something out of this, but we're going to continue to go through this. It sounds like Janie shut up. It sounds like Daniel is shut up. We've never heard a peep other than one statement from Malehya Brooks-Murray, which, again, I do not have high regards for. And the children are missing. And we're finding out that there was some activity outside of their home, unusual activity outside of their home at weird hours, few hours before they were reported missing. Again, much like the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Lots of similarities. We noticed them then, we're noticing them now. Alright guys, I really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me. We will see you guys tomorrow morning sometime. I have court, so if we may do a live really early in the morning, and we may do a live later in the like lunchtime. I'm not sure yet. We might do both. I'm just trying to get some research and energy because I've been in so much pain. But now I'm feeling better. My back feels better because I dropped a big old metal thing on my toe. So right now my toe's throbbing more than my back is. That's been my week. Okay. I feel like I can't win for losing this week. But I'm keeping a positive attitude. I have no broken bones, and I'm sure I will survive. It's not the worst day I've ever had, but it's not the best week I've ever had either, okay? So we're working through it, and hopefully next week's a better week. That's the way I'm looking at it, because we're already on Monday this week, and I dropped a freaking... Have you seen those big metal milk barrels? They're usually white or red, and they used to carry milk in them back in the days. Okay, well, a lot of people use them for like decorations in their yard. Well, I wanted to mow my yard because it's been raining like crazy and my yard is getting a little out of control. But because I was working on my flower bed and pulled that out, I was trying to put it back in, and I dropped it on my foot. If you know how heavy one of those things are, it is not fun. And I shouldn't even have been moving it because my back has already been jacked up for a freaking week. But I needed to get the yard mowed because you know what? The county don't care whether you're bedridden or not. They need the yard mowed. And I don't want to see my county up my crawl telling me I need to mow my yard. I know I need to mow my yard, okay? So I'll take a picture of it. It's pretty stinking big and it's freaking heavy as shit. Excuse my language, but it is. And I went to move it, and I didn't drop it. I think if I dropped it, it would have broke my foot. But I didn't move my toe out. It was my big toe. It was the knuckle. The top knuckle of my big toe, to be more precise. And I laid it down right on my foot. And it hurt. Badly. So, that's me. Aw, thank you. It's me, Jen is here. She gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Jen thank you. God bless you, my love. And we're going to just go out. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I didn't want to go in tonight without seeing you guys, especially since I took some time to put together this beautiful this thing here. This took me a lot of work. I don't know if you guys noticed. I know it looks really simple, but it took a lot of work. And so I wanted to, after I was done playing around with it, I wanted to put it up on the screen. So I decided to do a live because I did a thumbnail. The petty stuff that we do. The petty stuff that we do. No, I'm just joking. But we did get an opportunity to advocate for Lilly and Jack Sullivan and learn a little more about their case. Guys, I truly believe a lot of the things that we saw and heard at the beginning were planted. I believe both boot prints are planted. I believe that the pink blanket, I think the pink blanket was planted there to try to frame Malehya in part. So do I believe Malehya knows what happened? Yeah, I do. And every time that she doesn't tell the truth to law enforcement, she should be charged for lying. If she had nothing to do with this, she needs to get out of her own way and help them find her children. And right now, I don't see her helping one iota. All right, guys. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And Be Betty Fan is reminding you all to please check out Sonia's designs. She does amazing work, not just for our channel, but abroad in avocation for for our missing children. On every package that you guys see, you guys will notice, you guys get cards in there of missing persons. You got spiritual uplifting. You get packages that have stickers of missing persons on them, almost like the milk carton. When you send a pack, when Sonia sends you a package, it's an advertisement for these missing persons. So think about it. You're helping spread awareness throughout our mail system, much like back in the days with the milk cartons, just by purchasing stuff. Every purchase helps a missing child some way, somehow. And right now, every time I get a package, it has Holland Snap, Layla Santinello, Sebastian Rogers. That's avocation. That's avocation that works. And she's utilizing her ability to advocate for these victims. I don't really see a lot of that going on here from the shirt companies. And I think that this is a great idea to start helping with some missing person initiatives. I'd love to see FedEx. I'd love to see UPS start printing some labels or having packages that should showcase a missing person on it. So when people are being delivered mail, they're seeing missing person faces. I'd love to see something like that go throughout our United States. Yes, I know it costs money, and that's why it needs to be a national partner. Because that would be awesome. It would be super, super awesome. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys tonight. Be back here tomorrow, and we'll chat then. Talk to you guys later. Let's see if my intro's still good.